Hey, Scott Bruder here. I want to do a little bit of a show and tell on what I've done over the past little bit with this pocket light board. So let's flip it over. This is a pocket with a standard pocket screen. If you take a look here, I scrubbed down all of the vias that had corrosion, and I tried to lightly scrape the blue off without damaging the copper pads, and I soaked it in vinegar, and I've managed to clean out most of the blue. I have to come up with a clear coat on that. What I did do was I found that this capacitor here is for audio. So I reattached it. Let's see if I can zoom in there. You probably can't see, but I put a tiny little jumper to connect the trace again, and it worked. I put the speaker back on temporarily on the face of it, and fun story, it plays. It's quiet, but it plays, so I'm sure a new speaker will fix that up. If we take a look at the back, I also scraped up any of the through holes there. Vinegar, scrubbed down any blue. I used a little bit of baking soda in water solution. And what I did was I let the baking soda kind of turn into a paste, and I would scrape it with the Q-tip, and I rubbed it on the board and let it sit for about 5-10 minutes. And then, well, there's still some blue. I washed the board, and then I took the board and washed it under water, blasted it with air, and then wiped the whole thing down with rubbing alcohol. Let it sit for about 10-15 minutes. Now, up at the top, we know the connector is shattered, but I managed to find one of the white retainer clips from a spare board I had. I bent the pins accordingly. I stuck in the Game Boy Pocket screen, and I've already done a test, but I might as well show you guys. So I'm going to put my ground lead on. I'm going to put my positive lead on. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to turn on the power. And well, look at that. It boots, it loads. Okay, the next thing, let's zoom back out, is let's do the cartridge test. So all in all, I'm about 2 hours into working on this. Did I do something wrong? Uh-oh. About 2 hours into working on this. Oh, maybe I'm not hitting the negative. Okay, let's try this again. Power light. And I feel like this has been successful so far. So now, my next goal is, well, let's turn that off. Is what to do with the screen. So if we take a look inside the back here, we have the Game Boy Light screen with the backlight. And I want to thank everybody in the Facebook community. You guys are all great. The comments are just amazing. Is that it is the same panel as the Game Boy Pocket, except for instead of having a opaque transreflective panel on the back that reflects all the light back, it has I guess it's not, what's the word when it lets some light through? There's opaque that lets nothing through. There's clear, and what's the transparent? What's the one in between that lets some, I don't know, comment through? And that's what the panel has here. I don't know what to do. Like, I'd love to find a damaged pocket screen and try and take, you know, these traces off and these traces off and keep this ribbon cable and then replace it here and here. Now, whoever tried to repair it last time, they did some damage. Like, I'm gonna just zoom in here and flip this ribbon cable over for you guys. It's hard to see, but oh, actually, you know what? Let's go the other dirty way that they went. So we know the top of the cable is just euchred, but if we look here, like look what they did. They broke all of those pins. Focus. Really? So even if I were to get a replacement one of these ribbons, I would have to try very, very hard to solder those on without melting the plastic. Now, you know what? I'm up for it, because as it is right now, I have a working Game Boy Light motherboard, with the exception of this stupid clip here at the top. And I do have some more of these retainer clips on order, but once they come in, you know, it's 18 pins across the bottom, the 2 grounds on the side. Like, I feel like I'll be careful. It's now just comes down to the screen. If any of you have more comments or questions, let me know. It's really been exciting, and this is the first time I've actively contributed to community when trying to do my repair. Talk later, guys. Bye.